This particular topic is insane. It's insane and it's not being talked about enough. Because white women, we do that a fuckload. We do that from morning till night. Anything but holding our own accountable. And that's exactly the mindset that leads white women to such statements and to such invasions of spaces, of conversations that are not meant for us, that we are not supposed to be in, that we are not supposed to be a part of, that we are supposed to be avoiding. Because spaces like this are inherently threatened by whiteness. And this entire topic of when men of color or black men, indigenous men talk about their own oppression, and white women come and be like, oh, but male privilege. Wait a minute. Because this male privilege argument does not hold up once one of the victims or one of the people involved is white. And that's because whiteness outrules every other form of privilege there is. Because whiteness is the highest form of privilege existing in our current system. We live in a system of white supremacy that, one, whitewashed history, whitewashed race, whitewashed identities, demonized and dehumanized everything else, and throughout the history of mankind has adapted the label of whiteness to fit people or exclude people according to the agenda. For example, Irish people for a long time were not considered white, when now, of course, Irish is a nationality. There are Black Irish people. There are POC Irish people, whatever, okay? However, Irish people, white Irish people, were for a long time not considered white. But when it becomes beneficial to the narrative, to the existence of white supremacy and the expansion of that, they were now considered white. That's because whiteness is man-made. Whiteness is not biological. It is not real when it comes to humanity, when it comes to us as humans. Whiteness is a label that was put in close connotation to purity, to achievements, to standard, to civilization, when in reality, it is everything but that. Whiteness has brought nothing good to the world. And now you may be like, oh, but whiteness, blah, blah, blah. I did not say white people. Listen to me. I did not say white people did not bring good to the world. I said whiteness. The system of whiteness, white supremacy, has never brought forth anything positive to humanity. And that's also not positive for white people, because even the pressure of whiteness is not for us to fulfill. We cannot, most of us, fulfill the beauty standards, the general standards that come with whiteness, because it is done for a very small minority of people. A minority is another point, because whiteness, or white people generally, are a global minority. We are not the standard. We have never been the standard, and we will never be the standard. And that's exactly why whiteness has been expanded, has been changed to fit the narrative, to make it appear like humanity is white, or the default human is white, when in reality, whiteness is literally just a mutation. It's a genetic mutation that happened for people to be adapting to their surroundings. That's about that. Just because whiteness in a biological sense is not real doesn't mean it's not real when it comes to social hierarchies, social settings, history, and the hierarchy that comes with being white and the privileges that come with being white. And yes, oh God, we all know, I'm poor and I'm white and I grew up poor. You want a cookie? You want help? What the fuck do you want? Because white privilege has nothing to do with your wealth. It has nothing to do with the way you were brought up, your circumstances. It has everything to do with the fact that your skin color, our skin color, the way we are being perceived in society is never going to be a threat to our life, is never going to be detrimental for our existence. And you do not want to come up here and start telling me, the gringos, white South Africans, both of which is karma. And I'm going to leave it at that. Now back to the initial statement of white women invading spaces we should not be invading in the name of wokeness, or in the name of, who set that system up? Well, not men of color, bitch. Surely not men of color, because last time I checked, when, for example, the US was founded, there were no men of color on the table. There were no indigenous men on the table. There were no black men on the table. In fact, it took the US another 89 years to abolish slavery. So by the time the US was founded, black people, particularly black men, black people in general, but now we're talking about men, were not even considered human beings. They were considered property. So the point is where? Nowhere. Then we might be asking ourselves, okay, but if the point is nowhere, why do white women keep on saying that? The answer is simple: collective guilt and the lack of accountability. Two things can be right at the same time. The fact that white women be pointing fingers at anybody, everybody, and anything but ourselves is exactly the reason why statements like this are being made. Because us realizing that men of color are systemically oppressed by whiteness and by white women, because white women are the number one enabler of white supremacy, full stop, would mean that we would have to sit down with ourselves and acknowledge collective guilt, historical guilt, social guilt, and we do not want that. Because we are white women, right? We deserve to be protected. And we are fragile, and we are so innocent. No, the fuck we are not. We are actually not. And acknowledging, let's hypothetically say, we would acknowledge that men of color, of course, are victims to white supremacy and not beneficial to white supremacy. We would actually have to acknowledge that we take blame and we take part and accountability in that oppression, because silence in situations of injustice is choosing the side of the oppressor. It's really that simple. While black men were raping, were killing, were enslaving, were torturing black men on the fields, were raping black women, white women turned the other way. We did not sit down and be like, darling, I think you should not be treating human beings like this. No, we were sucking dick for breadcrumbs of privilege, because we were like, hey, it's better he goes and beats up the black woman than me. Pure egoism. There is nothing like, that's also why white feminism is useless. White feminism has never done shit, never achieved shit, never included anybody but ourselves. White women or white feminism has always been an egoistic trip of white women that wanted to be revolutionary. It's just like, you just have to imagine, like, those hippie kids to rich white people sometime in the 60s, 70s, and they were rebellious. That's what white women are when they are trying to be feminists, because our feminism is useless. Because in 9.5 out of 10 cases, it doesn't include nobody but ourselves. So in order for white women to save ourselves, we rather accepted the mistreatment, the inhuman acts of white men, because, if you're quiet and you're not speaking up, you're accepting it, clearly. So it was better for us to accept it and basically look the other way, instead of speaking up and therefore endangering ourselves. Which now you can be like, oh, but that's understandable. Who wants to die? Fuck me with that. What do you mean? It's called being fucking human. Because the whole, but it's normal for somebody not to want to get hurt. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, where do you draw the fucking line? I mean, your husband is out there raping black women, beating up black men. And you want to tell me that, she was just scared. How about she would have poisoned his sorry ass? I don't fucking know. Put the pillow on his fucking head while he was sleeping. Murder that fucker. No. She is so scared. That's because white women are so innocent, right? They can't do nothing. But I mean, come on. What do you want them to do? I don't know. For maybe be human for once. But of course, why would you do that? So in a nutshell, that's on white women invading spaces that we should not be invading, because while we are pointing the fingers, I can guarantee you 27 fingers are pointing at us, because history is not very on our side when it comes to being human, and calling out people. We lack accountability, we lack humanity, we lack empathy, we lack knowledge.